Yeah, Junji Ito. So with Uzumaki coming out and stuff, like, I actually took my time and I did a lot of like trying to find like the older stories, or at least like somebody to explain the older stories, and I just found myself like fairly disappointed in a lot of the representation, the animated representations of the manga works.
People don't. I know that the collections they've made. Actually, really, I think what you're saying is right. I think people agree that most of the anime adaptations of his work is not doesn't capture it.
It kind of like, I think the beauty of Ito's work is the fact that, you know, it is just mostly the human imagination and the way that he can kind of trick you visually into like really getting into like how either horrifying or disgusting or petrifying something is. As to, you know, and it's not solely based off of the actual movements of it, the actual IRL movement of it is just the representation on the page and your own imagination as to what is on there. And it seems that everybody has their, I mean, and that's the thing, is that's the beauty of comics, is that everybody has their own interpretation of what they generally see, and what they generally read. And that's why I feel that there's like a lot of disconnect with his work, because like, I believe, I mean, even in the horror fan base, there's just so many people in it. Like, everybody has their own niche, you know?
Sure.
So, but yeah, at the end of the day, I just believe the representations on paper are far more petrifying.
And he's like, I mean, yeah.
He's got some mad ink work, dude.
Exactly. His line work and his ink work is very striking, and that's part of what doesn't come across in, you know, studio anime where... I mean, I feel like, and I don't know, I feel like someone else pointed this out to me, but I feel like even that, you know, there are images in animes that are Junji Ito adaptations where they will show an image that is straight up an image that exists as a panel in the book, but they've made it look less intricate and, you know, in color and stuff to match what the show looks like. And right in that, something is lost.
I yes. When you add like, there's something with color depth that really takes away from like that's like the beauty of like, you know,
of like he really does fucking, yeah.
I would be pissed if they released like a color version of fucking like Sin City, you know. Like that's what I would kind of compare it to.
Yeah, that would be a really strange thing to do.
Let alone, I don't think Frank Miller would allow that. And something Cold Dead Hands, something.
Right, yeah.
Batman's a fascist.
Frank Miller thinks Batman's a fascist?
No. A lot of people think that the Frank Miller Batman is a fascist, and like politically,
right.
And there's a lot of. It was just something that I heard the other day, and I just thought it was really a fascinating take and just kind of funny. And something I never really sat there and thought about.
I bet he does some fashy things. Old bats.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Like, you know, instead of using his money to, you know, on, you know, programs that would help the citizens of Gotham, he goes out and beats up men who are arguably less privileged than him at night.
At night.
I don't know why that makes it.
There's an important
something about it. It does. It is his dark shadow comes out at night.
If it's in the broad daylight, it is about as American as apple pie. But if it's in the dark at night, dear God, if you're in the dark of night, you're in the dark with Hitler.
Yours exactly, yeah. The sneaky fascists come out at night. Sneaky piggy fascists.
Sneaky piggy fascists. Oh, dude. And then what else did I do this week? Oh, I went and I played some kickball with some friends this weekend. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, all right, kickball.
Yeah. I've not exercised in a long time. That's the most sore I've been in for fucking ever. It really, really blew. It was a good time. It was a great time. It was great seeing everybody. But like my hip joints hurt so fucking bad from running. And like I stretched. I made sure because like the last time I pulled a hammy, and it was the worst fucking feeling ever. I would not recommend trying to do any sort of physical activity before doing like a little bit of
a little stretch,
a little stretchy food.
A little stretchy stretch. Where's your hammy?
I believe the hamstring's like in the back of your thigh, isn't it?
No, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I have no idea what a hamstring is.
If I remember correctly, it's in the back of your calf or your thigh.
I don't think I've pulled a hamstring, but I have blown a seal.
Hamstring. 3 muscles that run along the back of the thigh, from the hip to just below the knee. Yes. Okay, I was right. But yeah, I don't know, it was the worst. It was the absolute worst. And like, it practically immobilized me. I was like a freshly born horse, dude. Like,
of all things.
I'm just flopping all over the place. Or I guess I think a giraffe does that sort of thing too, where they're like
when they're born.
When they're first born, they can't walk.
Imagine a greasy, floppy newborn giraffe.
A floppy newborn giraffe.
Flopping around with its knuckly legs. Giraffes are hysterical. I used to talk about giraffes all the time. I don't really. Part of it, I think. Yeah. I saw a picture of a restaurant, of a hotel in Africa somewhere, where like the gimmick of the hotel is that giraffes will poke their heads in through the window like in the morning, and I've lost my mind with desire. I seriously talked about on stream. I talked about Giraffe Heaven for like 2 years after seeing that image because I thought it was so amazing. And how when we die, we're all going to Giraffe Heaven, which is just a hotel in Africa where the giraffe visits you in the morning.
How familiar are you with Eddie Izzard?
What a fucking funny animal. Eddie Izzard is very funny. I feel like I recall something about a giraffe. I definitely recall something about Lessange.
I have no idea what Lessange is.
It's the monkey.
The monkey from...
No, it's French for the monkey.
It's French for the monkey.
He's basically, I don't know if he's explaining how to speak French, but he keeps talking about where Lessange is during the C30. But I can recall him imitating a giraffe and like eating the leaves with like his lower lip.
He's like that. He made a statement that about like the concepts of good and evil, and then he's just like animals aren't animals aren't necessarily inherently evil. It would just be really weird if there was like a giraffe that's just like, I'm going to eat all the leaves off the top of this tree so that other giraffes shall starve and die.
Yes. That's right. I recall that. Yeah.
Or the one where he's in line with like a whole line of murderers when all he wants to get is a bag of brown bread. I don't know if I'm familiar with that one. He talked about going to like a liquor store at like 4 o'clock in the morning just to get some bread. And he's like, you can see all sorts of people, like, there's all sorts of murders. And he just like does like different positions and different faces representing down the line a whole queue of like criminals and such. He's and he's apparently like panicking to the cashier. Yeah, I just need some brown bread, like the one right behind the register there. And he's like talking about how there's the bulletproof glass and how nobody can hear you on the other side. And so he's like screaming brown bread, and then he's like, and they're still behind me. They're all still there. And he's like pretending that like one guy's got a bazooka and another guy's got like an assault rifle and shit like that. you know, I don't know. Eddie Izzard is like the king of rambling, or excuse me, the queen of rambling.
Is that correct?
That
I don't know. I was wondering if I should ask what kind of pronouns
she
I
has
should be
since
using.
transitioned. Yes, actually, it was during her political office in Britain. She transitioned.
Still,
Which, I mean, good for her, right? Like, you know, I felt like it was kind of like a, you know, I hate being that person that says, you know, about fucking time. Like, good for you, hurrah! But like yeah, like that was expected for a long time. And then, you know, Eddie's like, oh no, you know, just a transvestite bit, you know, and then
executive transvestite
executive
was what she was claiming.
yes,
yeah, that's
yes.
right. I think that might have actually. Yeah.
There's a difference.
I gotta get up and turn the alarm off, but I'm also gonna grab coffee, turn the air conditioner on. It's 5:30.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Should I cue
I
the
left my lights on. The plant lights on last night. I wasn't supposed to.
Oh, don't do that.
Now I'm readjusting.
Well, I guess while you're readjusting that, I think we'll cue the music. So. Well. Welcome back, all of you out there. Happy Tuesday.
What is up? It is Tuesday.
It is, in fact, one of them Tuesdays. And it is because it is one of them Tuesdays, it is, in fact, time to hear two grown men talk about weird. I thought you were about to give me like a wheel of a morality joke or something like that. That would make to watch behind our ears. No. It's time for the wheel of morality. No, it's time for thought that was weird.
What's the morality?
Is
that a Monty Python?
Animaniacs.
Oh man, I know that show.
Yeah, at the end of the show, when they're getting chased by the security guard Ralph, Yakko would stop the crew at the same time and go, "Well, it's that time again," and then Dot would say something ridiculous. Wacko would say something ridiculous.
Wait, was there always a wheel of morality? Like
Not
every
always.
episode?
It was like
G.I. Joe?
It was almost like a yeah, it was meant to be like a parody of the G.I. Joe PSAs.
Like a fake PSA, okay.
Yeah. And what they would do is that, again, they would each come up with one, and then Yak would be like, no, it's actually time for the Wheel of Morality. They bring out this like big old Wheel of Fortune thing. Actually, hold on, let me close my window 1 second.
Yeah, is it storming? It's fucking storming here. The kitties are hiding in their little house. I really don't know. It's like, I feel like it's time to harvest my pot. But I might be pushing it. I don't know if anything bad happens if you push it.
I don't know. I would say something that you should probably double check.
Maybe
on.
Google. Yeah. I don't think. I think I've had people that have had weed kind of just grow and start to cure right on the, like basically dry right on the plant until you can pull it off.
Mm.
But it's not like, I don't know. I guess, well, really, there's a bunch of different signs you can look for.
Mm-hmm.
This one looks more, one of these plants here, on the top of it, it looks ready to go, but it hasn't like, there's like, not like, the longer, the leaves that are kind of on longer stems will start turning yellow and falling off, and that hasn't really begun to happen yet, so.
Okay. Well,
I don't know. I'm not really sure about these two plants that are growing here in the window, basically.
You know, what's the Seinfeld joke? Produce is a gamble, and I go in knowing that.
Yep, that's right. That's right. It is. That's really, really true.
Yeah, Jerry, you gotta try this cantaloupe.
That's why it's good to collect your compost or your scraps for your compost.
Mm-hmm.
So that when the gamble goes wrong and you get the shitty fruit, at least you can get some kind of energy out of it.
Indeed.
Yeah, and then the plants that are in the back, which I was considering harvesting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really, but basically I left the light on all night. So then, starting today at 5:30 a.m. Actually, it was about 5. I gave them 12 hours of darkness, which is really what's the important part. So now I guess I'm going to leave them on just so they get a little bit of daytime. I'm going to leave it on until like 8.
Yeah.
And then again, make sure that they get 12 hours. And then tomorrow go back to the normal schedule starting at 8. But I don't, they're almost ready to go. I just feel like maybe they could grow a little bigger before I chop them. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't really know where the exact line is.
You know, I wish I could tell you too. I have so many friends and family in the industry, and that's the one thing I've never really learned or asked because I never had my own plants to do that with. So, yeah, but that is interesting though. That like again, especially with like the growing dynamic of having to make sure that they actually have like legit darkness and sunlight.
Oh
like,
yeah,
every single time. Like that's really fascinating. I mean, for like an indoor plant, making sure that they get both is just really fascinating to me because again, it's a living thing. It understands like if it's like even like a little bit off, whether too much daylight, too much darkness, then it ends up like throwing something off just a little bit mildly, just in the same way that we have circadian rhythms. It's really interesting. There was like another like plant-based weird, fun, quick weird for the evening. There was a study, and again, this is not like an actually like dedicated weird. I probably will have to delve into this a little bit more to give you any real details on it. But there was a university that did a study. They put a whole bunch of electrodes on the plants inside of a gigantic greenhouse, and within these bunches of similar plants, they would have some that were like sang to, some that had classical music played to them, and then there's also, and they would measure the electrical output that the plant would give, and they had come to find that plants can feel panic because when they put these these electrodes onto these plants, they let a group of tourists through because the plants are used to having tourists come through and see them, whatever. But amongst the group was a researcher, and in that researcher, without any real provocation, just goes out and rips one of the plants like out of its roots out of the ground, and the dial that was checking all the other plants around that one plant went off the charts.
The ones around it.
Yeah, because they were freaking out because they thought they were next.
You can do something like that when you're growing pot. You can grow a mix of other weeds and grasses. If you have a big piece of soil,
Really?
you can grow other plants with the pot as it's growing, and then when it gets into flowering, you chop and drop. You chop all the other plants and let them lie in the soil. Maybe then just let them compost there. But the pheromones they release being chopped sends the weed plants into a production. I could be making that up entirely. I think that's something someone told me. Chop and drop. But I think I said specifically because the weed plants know that plants have been chopped up and killed, and it makes them produce. Something that last part could be made up.
That's kind of interesting, though.
Yeah,
that is fairly interesting. It makes them want to dish out more buds, so that way they keep the rest of the entirety of the plant safe. That's so interesting. It's almost like chameleon tailing it almost.
Okay, sure. Yeah, there are various ways you can stress out your weed plants that will make them more productive.
That
People
is
talk about like a human being exercising, how like, exercising can, ultimately be damaging, but
mhm,
hopefully uh recovering from the damage, the small amounts of damage to your body is what strengthens it. And
right.
so there are various ways to torture your weed plants to make them come back strong.
You just start
But
waterboarding
I
your
did
weed plants.
I heard someone explaining it in terms of, yeah, doing exercise and like trying to stress out their weed bodies so that they grow back stronger.
That's so interesting, dude. That's wild. I like again like I don't know. The plants are sentient. What are we gonna eat now?
It's
um,
a different kind of sentient.
I know, I know.
It's not one
They're just they're
that
aware.
creatures like us are likely to
It,
acknowledge.
it's Captain. They've adapted. That's what I'm
We'll
afraid of
find
right
out
now.
someday.
They've they've assimilated. They've turned into the Borg.
Right.
They're all planning against us, much in the same way that every cat is planning the downfall of humanity.
That's what you think?
Not necessarily. I don't know. Some have become complacent, but I believe there's probably some sort of like really strange and intertwined like geopolitical thing amongst cats. But that's just fun thinking. That's my astrology thinking as it pertains to that. But but speaking of growing, like you know what, dude, I was actually trying to grow in the studio here, and I was doing pretty all right for a minute, man, and
Okay, yeah.
yeah, it's been
Sometimes
going
shit
okay.
happens. It sucks.
It,
I have a lot of crops that just go
mm,
bad for whatever reason, and part of the learning process is figuring out what kind of plants can grow
right,
where
and
you are.
agreed, and thankfully it worked out pretty well. I mean, we had some sprouting going, and then unfortunately, I just had a really huge bird problem.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Was it corn?
No, it was just.
A one huge bird.
I said it was a huge bird problem,
Oh,
but
okay. That's like about Dark Souls.
I have seen that. Yeah, the isn't it two
Yeah.
crows? Oh, yeah, it's
Uh,
the or is it
there's
the
a
one?
couple different. There's a couple different famous crows.
I know one of them's the one that wants the. Is it
Yeah.
the one that wants the pearl?
It
Or
like, well, it wants to like touch Fuzzy or something. It says like,
I
give me
touch Silky.
snuggling. Yeah,
Touch
touch
Silky.
Silky, give me soft. It
Give me
says
smooth.
creepy things.
Yes.
Yeah, it says creepy things, but there is a giant crow that like exists in
Mm,
the game that you can go and look at.
right.
Uh, so there's a couple different giant crows, but
Mm.
one of them talks and one of them is big, like the one that you apparently encountered.
Yeah, that was a frightening bird. It cocked its eye at me and looked at me like I was some sort of a small bug, and thankfully I was able to kind of get rid of them,
Yeah,
which has been
you
nice.
figured a solution, crow
I I
solution.
yeah, I figured a little crow solution, and like again, sometimes the oldest solutions are uh sometimes the better solutions. Like just like with
Yeah,
adding
man.
vinegar to your laundry, I found out that using a scarecrow works pretty well. I went and got a scarecrow online, and look how happy I
Yeah,
am. Yeah,
even if that works, even if the scarecrow doesn't move around or anything, they don't get complacent about the motionless scarecrow with a stick.
no, he just chills there, and he's been scaring people. And actually, but the unfortunate thing is
It
those
doesn't look that scary to me.
no, he's not that bad, but unfortunately
You think about like
I
Killian Murphy.
well I've just come to find recently though the more often I keep going back, I believe this scarecrow has possibly quadrupled, almost like a cellular division type thing, and they've
There are now four
since
scarecrows.
they've now built a society.
Like Osmo, not an Osmo. Oh wow. Oh, this is wow.
Yeah,
That looks like a lot of scarecrows.
it's a petrifying amount of scarecrows, and I've never been more
Yeah,
unsettled
how
in
many
my life.
scarecrows would you say is too many? If you woke up in the middle of the night and there was a scarecrow on your front yard,
Well, again, it's much like
free.
the baby conundrum. The baby conundrum.
Would you
It's the
rather
same
have
thing.
babies or scarecrows?
I would be more of like single baby out in the middle of an open field. That's not that bad. Like
3 babies or 3 scarecrows, your
three
front
babies or
lawn, middle
three
of the night.
scarecrows. I
Yes.
would rather take. Well, it depends how they're positioned. Are the scarecrows like surrounding me in a manner? Are the babies surrounding me in a manner? Or are they just if the babies were all standing in a line and staring at me menacingly, I think it would be more petrifying than three scarecrows.
Here's the scarecrow situation. Here's where they're
Yeah.
standing. Throughout the day today, once or twice you noticed early in their day 3 spots where there were some tall weeds growing that seemed to have grown faster than the rest of the lawn. Later in the day, it seemed that there were 3 tall bunches of corn standing at these 3 places. Definitely, whatever type of weeds they are had grown faster over the afternoon. It's now 2 in the morning and you hear a noise.
Oh shit.
You flip on the light and you look outside, and in those places are 3 scarecrows looking towards the house.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
This is the answer?
Dude, and it's only because of the fact that I had a trauma when I was a child. My father made me watch Child's Play and then proceeded to fuck with me by making my Cabbage Patch Kids doll move from place to place in random intervals without me touching it.
How
And then I
old
would
would you
complain
say
to
you
him about it.
were?
I was maybe like 5, 4.
That's funny. That's very funny.
I mean, it's funny now. It was petrified because I thought that shit
Wow,
was moving.
I don't know if that's funny at all. That Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
I get a chuckle out of it. I mean, he's an asshole, but
Okay.
I mean, that's
All
neither
right.
here nor there. But
Sure.
but I mean, I mean, yeah, it's just like anything that just randomly moves without any sort of provocation scares me. Much in the same way as our friend sitting between us, Maureen here.
Does Maureen move about sometimes? Is she sometimes in a different place?
Sometimes, like again, she was hanging in the bus stop in the little hut that they had there. But she's
You know,
since
I told you that my mom has a little doll named Nora who is
Nora.
almost never in her usual place. My
I
mom has a bunch of creepy little dolls.
you know I've known plenty of moms and
Yeah.
other people that have the creepy doll shit. Yeah.
Nora is almost never in her usual place.
That is amazingly unsettling.
Wanders around the house when no one's looking.
Nope. No, sir, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm really. I had. Yeah, I've had some real bad dreams and real deep worries about old Nora. Let me tell you.
I would not doubt it. I had there's actually a oh goodness.
I had a real
Yeah,
nightmare one time that she was actually like under the sheets in my bed, like moving around, little tiny doll.
my great
Not Chucky style, like
yeah.
6 inches.
Oh man.
Yeah, a little one, creeping
That's even
around
worse.
under the covers.
That's like
Yeah.
the little
Cat's eye.
the fertility doll from Terror. Shit.
The
Tales of
fertility
Terror or
doll.
something like that.
Oh,
God, what was it?
it's not like Tales from the Dark Side or something. I feel like I
No,
almost remember something about a fertility doll.
African fertility doll, horror movie. Trilogy of Terror, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah,
Not
I think
familiar.
a Zuni fetish doll, excuse me.
Okay.
But yeah, it like killed people and came to life, and it was like a little thing.
Sure. Yeah, really little goblins and monsters are a different kind of
A different kind of horrible. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know about Cat's Eye, the thing I just mentioned?
Cat's Eye? No,
With
I don't.
with fucking Drew Barrymore. It's a it's a compilation, is that what they call it? It's three little stories horror movie.
I
An
guess it. Yeah.
anthology, yes. It's an anthology from the 80s and it's three Stephen King stories. And one of them was
Okay.
written specifically for the movie. And it features Drew Barrymore being tormented by a tiny little goblin that comes out of a tiny 4-inch hole in the wall in the night and sits on her chest and sucks her breath out.
Wow.
And the cat comes and fucks it up.
Meow.
That's pretty good. Like, so it's pretty good. It is scary. Little 6-inch monsters is scary, but I do have three cats here, so my interests are, looked after.
My interests are looked after.
Yeah, my interest concerning 6-inch tall goblins.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Also, fucking, is it called the Gate? I'll let you.
The
I'll let you
Gate?
move on to wherever we're. Yeah,
No,
some
only on
other
that.
some. Oh God, Deacon Frost from Blade. Is it? It's not Brad Dourif. I don't recall the name of the Dorf. Stephen Dorff. Is that a guy?
Stephen Dorff. Yes, that is
So
correct.
when he was a child, like when he was 13, he was in a
Yeah.
movie called The Gate, where little tiny 6-inch goblin men invaded the house, and it was scary as shit in 1985.
Stephen Dorff, The Gate. Oh wow.
Mm.
He's been in a handful of things, hasn't he?
Yeah, the only thing that really comes to mind, as far as I'm concerned, is Blade, where he played Deacon Frost. But he certainly had a Hollywood career, old Stephen Dorff. Old Stefan Dorff.
Stefan.
Stefan Dorff.
Interesting. But well, but yeah, again, along with Stephen Dorff, like that's. I'm trying to think of what there's like another movie that him as a kid I saw, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't think of it. But either way,
So I don't see three more scarecrows around here. Are they sneaking around?
they're all hanging about. They're actually over by the big TV. I don't know. You want to go hang out with them?
Sure,
Oh yeah,
sure,
yeah.
sure. Okay, yeah. Let's meet them.
Yeah, we
This
got
one's Maureen. Where's
we got Maureen
Maurice?
over here. This is her
Oh
husband.
wow, look at these guys.
This is her husband. This is Dennis, and over there that's their son, Tanner. He's kind of a prick.
Tanner, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we don't like Tanner.
He's all right, but he's just got that smug fucking look on his face, and I don't know. He also does crypto, and
Oh, okay. Does he speak in crypto? Does he like talk gibberish like a Warcraft player?
uh something wallet, something
Blockchain.
Dogecoin. I don't fucking know.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what these assholes talk about ever. But
I don't talk to a lot of scarecrows.
neither do I, and it's because of this situation that I actually began looking up more about scarecrows kind of accumulating in a small area, and thus brings us
Okay.
to today's topic, which is we're going to be discussing a small of a small island. Oh goodness, what is it called again? Nagoro. I believe it's called Nagoro. Yeah, it's so
Okay, yeah.
Nagoro. Yes, excuse me. It's Nagoro, Japan, which is a village in Iya Valley on the island of Shikoku, which is that little southern island right off the mainland. It's like right in between like the big final isle to the left, and just right on the southwest corner there. It is one of the least visited islands of the islands in Japan, which is kind of fascinating to me.
Hey, were we talking about Alicia Silverstone, or was that me and Pete?
I don't think I've talked about Alicia Silverstone since
Okay.
2000. I think
Okay.
since I talked about Liv Tyler, and the last time I talked about Liv Tyler, I watched fucking Empire Records. So yeah, I've not talked.
How about the Aerosmith song, the video for the Aerosmith
Oh yeah,
song
crazy.
"Crying"?
Mm.
Crying.
Oh, that was crying. Oh, is that crying or
No,
is this both?
she's in like 3 of them.
Well, is actually like lives in a handful of them. Alicia was in was it crying? Where they were.
Well, Alicia Silverstone is in "Crying" with Bruno Dorf or whoever we were just talking
Bruno.
about.
Okay, yeah. That was the one where she did the where she jumps off the edge of the
Yes,
bridge.
she jumps
at
into
the
the highway. Right.
Now, for
Okay.
some
Yeah.
reason, I always mixed it up if
That's
it was Liv
Crying.
or Alicia Silverstone who did it. So okay, that makes perfect sense though.
And "Crazy" was one of the other ones.
Mm-hmm. That was the one with Liv Tyler. Where
And
they
then
were
she went to the moon with Ben Affleck. Is that canon?
Was she what? Oh yeah. Wait.
I think that the girl who goes to the moon with Ben Affleck is the girl from.
Oh yeah, that was Armageddon.
Who's friends with Alicia Silverstone and Brad Dorff. I keep
Yeah.
Brad Dorff is Chucky. I don't know if that's why his name is in my head.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, No, not Steven Dorff. Brad
his
Dorff.
brother or something like
No,
Dorff.
Dorff. Yeah. Brad
Huh.
Dorff is he's in a lot of things. He's like in one episode of like every science fiction TV show. He's on Star Trek, he's on The X-Files, he's in The Exorcist 3, he's in
The Exorcist
Graveyard
3.
Shift. He's in a ton of stuff, a ton of horror type stuff, and he's Chucky. Oh, and he's Grima Wormtongue from The Lord of the Rings.
I actually still need to see. I saw Fellowship. I haven't seen the other two.
I think at this point that's fine. I think at this point, if you've seen Fellowship, that you've kind of seen it. You've culturally absorbed the rest of it. You know what it's like. There's a bunch of longing glances and real soft, sherbety landscapes.
Do I like beyond that? Like, so I've got this long ass curly hair and shit. So when I was younger, I kept it a little bit shorter, and when it would be humid out, it would basically turn into this little like Frodo Baggins-esque like fro thing.
They would call you a hobbit.
I'm a short guy too, and I literally had a guy come up to me with his wedding band, looking all shifty. He goes, "Hey man, can I talk to you for a second?" I'm like, "What do you need?" He goes, "Listen, dude, I got this ring, right? I need you to go to Mount Doom, okay?"
Yeah.
Like, you bastard. But so today we're gonna be talking about Nagoro, Japan. So Tsukimi Ayano is this woman right here. That is a picture of, if I was not mistaken, I believe the caption said that that's a picture of her and her father, who was one of the original
This woman is at least half scarecrow?
I'm sorry?
This woman is half scarecrow, at least?
I believe so, yes. If I'm not
not
mistaken.
If her father looks to be 100% scarecrow, so she's probably half scarecrow.
More than likely. So, this happened well before her father turned into a scarecrow, but back in the
turned into a scarecrow. Her father wasn't okay. That's a little different then.
Begin with, no.
He was human when he was producing his daughter.
And then he became a scarecrow.
Okay.
But so she was abroad for a long while, and she was doing her own thing, and her family all kind of started moving back into the village that they grew up in Japan, which is this little town, Nagoro. And when she had moved back into this town to help her father out, who was sick, she had come to find that due to the really massive boom in the tech industry, had absolutely depleted all of the young people from this rural village. So there's not a lot going on. Like even today, I believe they said that the youngest person still living there is like 58 years old. Just to give you kind of a reference
Okay.
to this. And there are currently 35 people in this town. The last time they did a census. Or excuse me, 27. 35 was the one before. Yeah, there are 27 people in this town. And it is literally not even like it's maybe a 5 block by 5 block town. It's not very big whatsoever.
That
And
is not. That's yeah. That is scarcely a town.
it's hardly. So this woman here is Tsukimi Ayano. After her father passes, as a sort of memoriam to him, she had kind of like a mild hobby in building like little dolls and things like that, and making cloth dolls. So she started making one, and she made one to look like her father, and she put it out in the field as a scarecrow. She really liked it, and she had a lot of fun making it. And it's within that she started sometime around in 2003 just going ham. And she proceeded to fill up more and more of her town with these dolls. And it's super interesting to me because, again, like, there's nothing in this town. And I can only imagine, as a person who really enjoys, like, like I enjoy my alone time, but when I go out, I expect to,
Is that a wooden blowjob robot?
as a wood. That's one of the tech downgraded robots from Futurama.
Yeah.
That is the tech downgraded hedonism bot.
Yeah, it looks like it has. It looks like it can swap out that blowjob face for like a different one. You know what I mean? It looks like it's in blowjob mode right now.
One's for more cylindrical penises, the other one's for the more USB type penises.
The key-shaped ones, yeah. USB key.
The USB-C type inserts.
Yeah.
But she just proceeded to continue building the
cylindrical type penises.
Cylindrical type penises. Your silo. You have your silo types. Then you have your rectangles. And then sometimes, just sometimes, you get a rhombus. But she proceeds to make all of these. And
sometimes you get the old candy cane.
Sometimes you get the old candy cane. Oh, that's good. Another fun statistic about how sad rural Japan is. 28% of Japanese are 68 or 65 years or older. 28% of them. It is suspected that by 2050 it's going to be somewhere near 40%.
All young people live in the city? Period?
All the young people move to the city because that's where the jobs are. That's where the e-commerce is. That's where
sounds like old Possum Springs in the Rust Belt of fictional furry 2010 America.
You've got Akihabara, where it's a Futurama sex bots, likely not making the cut for Fortnite's Futurama update. They're doing a Futurama update?
You don't think so? I bet there will be a sex bot in there. I bet there will be a sexy one.
That would be funny. I would totally love it. What's up?
Let's see. I guess it depends on. I don't know how many characters they tend to work into a Fortnite update. I don't know if it's like just who's that guy, Big Sheev, and then that's it. I don't know if he comes with like Darth Vader and Boba Fett and like Yoda or whatever. But if there's at least 10 Futurama characters, one of them's gonna be a sex bot. Maybe not.
Guaranteed.
I don't think it's super unlikely.
Don't
they have like Harley Quinn and other sexy ladies running around?
Oh, dude,
that might be different. That might be different than an actual sex bot.
The Rule 34 for this game is so ridiculously easy.
right. Oh, there's definitely Fortnite porn, right?
Oh,
Like thousands of
absolutely.
Are
Hours.
there
Hours.
Fortnite original characters? Is there like a lady? Like,
Yes,
is
but
there?
I don't know any of their
I'm
fucking names because they just never. It's just never mattered. You know, it's not like picking characters in Mortal Kombat. You know, you're not like picking somebody with a
Sheen has
personality.
returned.
It's just a skinless character with no voice unless you've watched the movies. And in that case, like,
In that case, you
what do you
still might not.
you
Yeah,
you,
it
you
still might not make any sense.
no, none of it does. Uh, yeah, it's all like plot gobbledygook that I don't understand. Whatever, like
There's
it's
like a vampire lady, with like wings and like a lot, and like she eats people's organs and shit, maybe.
that's cool.
And like in the new movie, she comes swooping down, and the guy with the hat cuts her in half. She's in the movie. I don't even know why they bothered to identify her. Unless she's in like a scene I missed because I was high. I'm pretty sure that the vampire lady comes swooping down and the guy with the hat cuts her right into two sections, and that's it.
Wait,
So
wait, Vampire Hunter D? Was that it? What was that?
no, sorry. I'm talking about the most recent Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh,
The guy with the hat is Kung Lao. So the guy with the hat is Vampire Hunter D. Yeah. No, Kung Lao.
I had a moment there. I'm
It's
like,
like a circular saw.
oh, I know who you're talking about. The guy who can throw his hat and it's a blade. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
yes. Sorry, not Vampire Hunter. Vampire Hunter D does wear a very large hat.
that's such a good fucking movie.
I ain't seen that. That's like some '80s anime.
Classic.
No one's seen that.
Like OG, like I liked the OG, but the sequel, the follow up, that was
yeah,
that
I
was
don't recall.
Chef's Kiss, fantastic anime right there. And and again, I'm generally not a fan of like vampire stuff. Like I liked Dracula, like as a concept as a whole, and then but like don't get me started about your Twilights and shits like that. Like
sure.
that kind of.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that consider themselves fans of vampire horror that would be like, "Well, shut up. That doesn't count."
How many? And do you know how many Anne Rice fans I've had to ghost in my lifetime?
Oh boy, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like bad. um, but yeah. So Tsukimi here, like in the peak of her loneliness, just starts building all of these dolls, and some of them are like actual people.
I don't know if I would recommend this behavior. I don't know if this is a good idea. It might be.
But
It's
again,
kind
like,
of cool, but you're asking for it. You're
Yeah.
asking for curses.
you're asking for curses.
You're asking for it. You're fucking begging to get a cursed village. You're begging for it. This is exactly how you accidentally curse a village.
Well, if you want to talk about cursed items, how about this one? This one really got me because it's pursing its lips at you.
Oh, this lady I think really was interested in blowjobs, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. I think she was in fact a straw enthusiast.
Oh, okay, sure, okay, yeah. It's
or she might have really liked the candy cane shaped ones. I'm not sure. But
yeah, that might be too.
So
you're saying something about some of them were people, they represented actual living persons that had lived.
Some of them were, some of them weren't. Some of them were she would make like kid ones, and she. Oh goodness! Let me see if I can find that picture here. Here we go. It's the next one. So this is her actually making the dolls. She made an entire like.
Are those the ones in the background helping her finish?
Yeah, right. Isn't that wild?
Are those factory workers that she made?
Yeah.
This is exactly how you get it cursed out. Nagoro Scarecrow Festival.
Oh,
are they planning a festival? That's what it says on the board behind her.
Oh, I guess they have. Yeah, I guess they have like a yearly festival that they hold.
That the scarecrows participate in.
Yeah, they actually like. She consistently changes the scenes of all the stuff in town. Like That bus stop.
Is it a tourist attraction? Do people go and see it?
It is because of like all of the praise that it has gotten. It has since become a tourist attraction for the town. It has since been
Awesome.
one of the
Cool.
big economic pulls for the town.
Oh, so in that case, it is a good idea. But this town
it has
end up
positivities.
in 20 years, someone's going to be visiting this town, and it's going to be a horror.
Well, here's the thing: is that she she has made more than 400 of these dolls.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah,
not
that's how you do it, all
including
right.
the replacements that she has in mind while she's building the regular.
Okay.
Again, she's changing these scenes out. Like that scene right there probably wasn't that scene before. Before that was probably a PTA conference with a whole bunch of like kid dolls inside of desks. Because the last school that was in that town closed in 2012. And she then asked the town if she could just kind of expand her little art project. And so it kind of turned into this. It actually reminded me of, let me see if I can find this. Have you ever heard of something called the Heidelberg Project?
No. I do not believe so.
So the Heidelberg Project was basically somebody in the city of Detroit. So you know that like in Detroit there was like a lot of fires that basically kind of leveled a good hunk of the city.
Sure.
During the riots, and it's around that it was almost like a yearly process on Devil's Night. I don't know if that's a term that y'all know too, but like the 30th of.
If you're from that area.
If you're from that area, 30th of October, you're generally bound to see a lot of fires. So this one guy took his entire street block and turned it into a gigantic, all these abandoned buildings, these dilapidated houses, and turned them into an art project. Like this one, and this is just something that you can just walk through. He literally, from the street to the cement to the buildings, lampposts, everything is just one gigantic canvas. Yeah, this is the polka dot house. There's also a house with numbers on it. There's the stuffed animal house where he has like a whole bunch of like carnival stuffed animals that were going to be thrown away by the Salvation Army, and he just staples them to the buildings in his neighborhood. He makes a lot of references
where I can just fucking staple shit to buildings. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool, dude. But it reminded me a lot of that, and it's mostly a means of trying to beautify what you can, make do with what you can, and I thought there was something sweet about it, even though she ended up putting a Donald Trump guy in the middle of town. But I'm not going to judge
that. Hey, you know. Is it for sure a Donald Trump guy?
I'm joking, but I honestly don't know. But it looks fairly close to the cat, doesn't it?
I guess so.
But
I mean, yeah. I don't know if a red tie really would do it, but I mean the fact that it is an American flag does. But you know, who gives a shit? He's a scarecrow in Japan.
It's a stupid scarecrow in Japan. They're not even interested in our politics. They have their own shit to worry about, like their dwindling youth population in rural areas, let alone their dwindling birth population or birth rates. Yeah. It's again suspected by 2050 there's gonna be people over the age of 65 are gonna take up 40% of the population. So yeah, that's
not just the rural population.
No, this is the overall Japanese population. Hashtag scarecrow fashion is political. Thanks, T1.
Wow.
What's up?
Yeah.
Welcome in. But yeah, Sakumi still. Sakumi Yano still continues the process.
There's such thing as being politically neutral. This lady must be a Trump supporter.
Obviously, if you're living out in the middle of the woods making dolls, there's something wrong with you to begin with. but you know what?
Uh,
I'm sold. I am sold. No,
Sebastian's opinions do not
she's
reflect my opinions or the opinions of the show. If
no.
you're living out in the woods making scarecrows, you're cool.
Yeah, you're pretty
I
cool.
want to make sure that.
No, it has to be known. But no,
I want to make sure
made the internet know right here, right now. Sakumi Ayano is the raddest little lady in
making us.
Japan. She's shredding it. She's killing it. Doing something for her community. She's doing something that, brings her joy and brings others joy. And she's apparently, like, I've seen videos of her doing interviews with like tourist blogs and shit like that. And she's like the sweetest, most welcoming lady ever, as far as I've seen. Like
Awesome.
they really welcome the they really welcome people into the town because they, for one, don't get too many people there. For two,
Right.
it also gives her inspiration for new dolls to make. Like for example, the guy from oh god, Top Gear.
Okay.
He did like a one of the guys from Top Gear. I forgot his fucking name, but he did a travel show. She ended up making him a personalized scarecrow that lives in the town.
That man, if you visit the town,
Yeah.
your scarecrow lives there forever, and when you die, you wake up in the body of the scarecrow. That's the Junji Ito. There is a Junji Ito story about scarecrows. You plant them over the graves of people,
Ooh.
and the person in the grave, their face appears on the face of the scarecrow.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. Junji Ito is my dude. I hope he's doing something with Hideo Kojima.
I certainly hope so too. That would be great.
He was in Death Stranding. Do you know he's one of the actors in Death Stranding? Junji Ito?
What?
He's one of the dudes in one of the like little bases you visit, like one of the single habitats that have one guy. I guess so. Are you looking it up right now?
Are you no. Well, no. He's the only man. Wait, I believe he's one of the only Asian men in that game. Besides,
then it is likely the musician.
If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
He's not the cosplayer.
No, or no. There's. If I no, that doesn't look like Junji Ito, the gentleman that runs the weather base.
And the weather base is not the musician, right? He's one of the guys.
No. He plays the engineer.
Okay, yeah, he's one of the single.
He was that old. I didn't realize he was that old looking. Oh my goodness, I feel I don't mean to sound like I'm being a dick here, but I thought he was a younger looking cat. Oh, okay. If I remember, because I might have watched a lot of
the version of him in the game might look a little older than he actually is.
I think I watched a lot of older. And yeah, they did that a lot in the game too. It was either overage or underage to them.
Yeah, you know that the lady that played fucking Mrs. America or the president or whoever, the woman that played her is like 75. Maybe not that old, but like 65. Yeah, the woman that plays the blonde woman in Death Stranding.
Yeah. The
actress that plays her was the original like.
And they de-aged her for that
or something, and they de-aged her. Yeah,
dude, I didn't know that. I thought she was a younger actress that got aged up. Oh my god.
No, she was like the bionic woman. Yeah, in like the fucking 80s on a TV show. Yeah,
I love that shit. I love
Junji
I love the
game. A wacko.
Yeah, he's a wild one. Yeah, no, I didn't realize that was Junji Ito though. I didn't realize that he could speak. I didn't realize that he spoke English so well.
Yeah, good enough.
I mean, again, that goes the same with like oh goodness, Naoki Urasawa, where he like. I've only like a lot of my favorite mangaka and anime artists. More often than not, they generally don't speak English. So I'm just shocked that I'm sitting here right now and I've listened to this guy speak English to me the entire time playing Death Stranding and not realizing that I'm just ignorant to the fact of that after years of watching Junji Ito interviews and all he does is speak Japanese. So
there was seriously like
mind blower,
hot rumors of Kojima, Junji Ito, and Guillermo del Toro doing something together. My dick would fall off.
Dude, straight.
My mind would be blown apart.
I'd lose my shit. I would lose my shit. Like, like, I don't know. Gingy better be helping out with the next Death Stranding too, because that.
Oh yeah.
But
Death Stranding 2 is. I can't believe they're making a Death Stranding 2. Fuck.
I'm shocked they even got the clearance to. Well, I mean, it's
Oh
Kojima. He
man,
probably does his own shit.
The first one again.
Oh man, I just hope they do better with the vehicles this time, please. I don't know how many times I can reiterate this. I feel like I'm a broken record saying that the vehicles in Death Stranding were fucking terrible. They're cool designs. They were cool in the manner that they traverse, but like the contact detection was terrible.
Okay.
You hit a pebble with the big old truck, and all of a sudden the truck's flipping from the front end. You know.
I really think in general, the way that gravity applied to the vehicles was a problem. They did bounce the fuck. And I mean, I remember bitching about bouncy vehicles when Mass Effect 1 came out in like what, 2008 or something? Like I really, and it's not massive. The vehicles in Mass Effect 1 are trash. But for Death Stranding in 2018 or 19 to remind me of Mass Effect, the way its vehicles bounce around, that's fucking funny.
Dude. But yeah, that's the story of Nagoro, Japan. This was a really quick and easy one. Really not a whole lot to go on about here. It's but again, in general, it's just a very sweet, inspiring story about, like, you know, I don't know, we've all had to go back to the small towns that we've lived in and see how much that's changed, and see how much that it
Sure.
Yeah, so this is one of those moments where it's like you do something for yourself to, you know, make it better for the moment, and hats off to her. Like, that's fucking rad. I could not have the patience to make 400 human-sized dolls.
I might do it. I might make 400 human-sized dolls that represent the inhabitants of my hometown. And if any of you motherfuckers are listening right now, y'all better be nice, because I might stab those dolls full of nails, too.
We're gonna go full voodoo.
Fuck all y'all.
I'm invoking Marie Laveau and shit. But I'm gonna grab a little more water, and then we will talk about the next subject. Yeah,
perfect timing. Let's do it.
Indeed. All right, we will be right back, gang, with some more. Thought that was weird.
Yes, I know it's so sweet. Everybody's so good. What's up, you piglets? Hey, Babette. Hi, are you a cute pig?
I will be the flame.
Now you want to go out? You were so sad about the rain you hid in your little house. And now you're going outside?
All right.
Hey Siri, set an alarm for 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Yeah, no shit. Set an alarm for 8:30 p.m. What up? What's my papuch?
Oh man, that's funny.
Paprikachu.
Fuck Siri. Oh man. Twitch, by the way, everybody, thank you so much again for tuning in. Really appreciate y'all hanging out this evening with us. Yeah. I'm gonna do my little Def Leppard trick.
You gotta. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's what the guy does.
yeah, he does the little hand twirl, little finger twirl.
Because he only has one hand.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Oh yeah, he's got lots of pedals, huh?
Yeah, he doubles. I think he has
They still
a.
play. Are they a band? Are they together?
He was, if I'm not mistaken, they were still touring for a second. I don't know if
Okay.
he's had to stop since,
Okay.
but like, dude, like that dude's story is just like unfortunate. Like,
Yeah.
doofed up and flips his fucking sports car.
Yep. Terrible.
And I remember seeing that like VH1 doc where they had like they were the point of like where they actually attached his arm back.
Whoa,
And then,
really?
yeah, they tried attaching it back, and he tried going on with it. And if I'm not mistaken, the body rejected the arm,
Yeah.
and that's how he ended up being stuck with the one arm. And so he basically for himself developed a whole system of how to play the drums one-handed. So he would like somehow like I think there was like a extra like he would basically have like extra like digitized pedals for whatever drum that he was hitting, like
Oh, okay.
for his like left and right foot, and then he would just have to remember, okay, that's for a kick, that's for like a rag tom, that's for a floor tom. But I assume that it probably took him a long time to get, but that's like I give him credit. Like that's doing like I
He had
found
to
it hard.
develop the system as well as learn it.
Exactly. I mean I can barely play drums with two hands. Like I couldn't even fathom doing an intricate rock song with one hand. But yeah, no, that shit blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. I give it up to him. So yeah, Def Leppard on tour this summer. No,
Cool.
today's Thought That Was Weird, sponsored by Def Leppard.
Def Leppard.
Oh, Bless plays with the raid. What's up, Bless? Thank you so much for the raid, bud. Welcome in, everyone.
What's going on?
What? We were just moving on to the next half of the show for the evening. We're going to be discussing this woman right here.
Tokyo Rose?
Well, here's the thing. That's not really Tokyo Rose.
Okay.
And I'll explain, and just to kind of create the mystique,
Okay.
she I recently learned that there is an actual dramatic play made around her story, but like when I heard her story, I'm like, this has to be a fucking movie. Like give this woman's story like a platform on a major fucking motion picture. And
You can get Scarlett Johansson to play her.
Oh well, Thought That Was Weird. Thanks, everybody.
I mean, that's not even a joke. That's just old as shit. I mean, that's honestly, that's not original. And
I like ScarJo, and the thing with like from what I understood, like most of the Asian community really didn't necessarily care. It was more the the actual fans of the series, which I'm kind of with that. Like,
Particularly about Ghost in the Shell.
hmm?
Particularly about Ghost in the Shell, because she's gotten shit about that type of behavior from other things.
Yes, there's a handful of
word.
questionability. Like it's a toss up because like according to there was like studies done about like about Asian representation from American films when they transfer over to uh, Chinese theaters, and as far as I've understood from the study, it's more about seeing the big name actors rather than the representation for them, which
Sure.
okay, whatever. Like that's, but again, that's like one snippet of an entire thing that I am too small and insignificant to really talk on. But like,
Yeah.
but yeah, at the same time though, like as far as I've understood, it didn't seem like that big of a crack. But I personally, as a fan of Ghost in the Shell, thought that was kind of shitty. That they could have hired a oh god, what was her name? Fucking
This joke began.
who now?
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell. The joke
Yeah.
really started with Ghost in the Shell of let's get Scarlett Johansson to play her.
Like she could have like I really I can't even begin. Like you could like who was the woman from Everything Everywhere All at Once? Michelle Yeoh?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I don't know. What if somebody, because she's got like an entire repertoire of like
Kung Fu.
fucking stunt people under her, let alone she's probably been a big proponent for female stunt people. Like talk to her. Like she obviously has those connects. Somebody get a like that. Yeah, there could have been better casting for that film. I compared it. I would say I can like not in the same manner, but it's almost like Ryan Reynolds as the Green Lantern. Like it was just bad casting.
Yeah.
I did not
You think
like
the casting was the problem with that movie?
I mean, the fact that they tried to make an anime live action film was horrible to begin with. And I think that's like the real ultimate sin there, as we've all learned from Death Note and Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, like that was definitely one of the big I would say like issues that I had with the film.
They made a Full Metal Alchemist movie? Did Netflix do it?
Yes, they did. If I remember correctly.
Does a girl turn into a dog?
Alchemist movie net. Was it net? It wasn't Netflix. I think it might have been Netflix.
I feel like I might have threatened to make someone watch this.
Oh my god.
But I don't think I watched it.
I didn't either, but I saw some of the from the scenes from it, and like
Are they making The Last Airbender?
they better not be making another Last Airbender movie. Like my
I
god.
think Netflix is making The Last Airbender with human actors.
Why can't we do this story? Can we have this story? Can we stop taking other people's intellectual properties and just can we tell a solid story? Can we have can I ask for an unpretentious Oppenheimer-esque movie with this story?
Did you see Oppenheimer?
No, I wish I did
Okay.
though. But again, like let's be frank about who Christopher Nolan is. Like,
oh, who is he?
he's the artsy fartsy guy. Although I like his work. I truly did.
I watched his spaceship movie.
Oh, what was that?
With the guy that says, these teenage girls.
Oh, McConaughey. Yeah. Was that Interstellar? Was that Interstellar?
Interstellar. Yeah. He's driving around picking up teenage girls and taking them to space. With a fucking rectangle robot.
I actually haven't seen that, but what I did see was that oh God, who was Miss Congeniality? God,
Is that Sandra Bullock? And
Sandra Bullock sees,
is
yes.
that William Shatner?
It was Sandra Bullock sees and fucking George Clooney's. Sandra Bullock and George Clooney died in like the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Wait,
It was
in what?
it was oh God, now I completely forgot what it was called. What was the one where they were fixing a space station and
Oh, Gravity.
Gravity. Yes. Yes. She
Scary.
it, initially petrifying, but like the initial
But
concept.
it takes too long. Is that Chris Nolan?
I don't know. That's not Chris Nolan. It was just something that I'm reminded of, like space disaster movies or like
Children of Men.
huh?
It's a guy that like the guy took like 10 years to make that movie, and he made like another like one of like at least something else that he's.
It took him 10 years to make Gravity.
I think he took a long time to come out at the very least. I'm not sure. Let's see here.
Was it like
I think it might be
Contact
Children of Men. Oh, was it Contact? That would be funny.
No,
Gravity Falls. Fuck off. Autofill fucking ass.
Mm,
AI ass.
jeez.
Alfonso Cuarón.
10 years to make that?
Gravity, Children of Men, and E2, Mama Tambien.
Oh, Children of Men. I've heard of that movie.
Yeah, Clive Owen.
Yeah, that's a real. Yeah, that one. If I remember, had a lot of shit that happened on it.
Yeah, and I think that one might have taken a long time to make too.
Okay. So yeah, so last night, just before we get started with the Tokyo Roast story here,
Sure.
I just want to give a quick shout out. I forgot to grab the their logo, but Wendigoon on YouTube.
Yes.
Awesome resource for really weird videos and things like that. That's where I found out about this story and decided to do some research and talk about it today. Very, very powerful, fascinating story. So, and it just completely blew me away, and I felt that everybody should know about this, especially considering that like a lot of people are just now figuring out about Japanese internment during World War II.
Oh, okay.
But nobody knows who this woman is, and
okay.
And I guess we'll kind of we'll start a little bit later in her life. So it is let me see if I can find in my notes here the exact time here. So oh, there we go. Yep, 1949. This is 31. Wait, excuse me. 33-year-old Iva Taguri. Iva Taguri is walking into a gigantic courtroom where she faces a judge who flat out tells her that she is charged with 10 counts of treasonous acts against the United States.
Jesus.
To open up this story, this woman is told that she is.
That's so much treason.
That is a lot of
10 treasons.
10 treasons.
That's terrible treason.
That's more than 9 treasons. I know.
Yeah, it's practically 11.
That's almost a baker's dozen's worth of treason.
Yeah. That's a lot of treasons. That's like that's a silly amount of treasons.
Mm.
It's a silly amount of treasons to accuse one person of.
It very much is. So, as it pertained to her, she and mind you, she maintains her innocence, and this is where her innocence starts. First off, she was claimed to be what American media and soldiers had known as Tokyo Rose.
Okay.
Now, Tokyo Rose is actually just a broad, general, blanketed term for Japanese women during World War II that would do radio broadcastings in English.
Okay.
And more often than not, it was done in a manner of a sort of a kind of like a psyop, if you will, by the opposition.
Okay.
So
All right.
the Japanese Imperial Army would hire English-speaking women, and they would play, jazz and American music, but then they would have these demoralizing radio snippets and broadcasts in between, basically where women are telling the men out in the field that their women are back home cheating on them. The
Yeah.
Americans are losing the war. They would falsely claim like the losses of particular battles and things like that.
Am I
And
allowed to say the word cuck anymore? Has there been a ruling on that one?
I think there was some sort of a ruling in the
I
Twitch
think
community,
right,
but
okay.
I don't fucking care.
I think they. All
I
right,
think
I'm
I've said
sorry.
it once.
I'm sorry that I think it's so funny
It is funny.
to say a word that I know I'm not supposed to say in the question.
We're not allowed to
That's
say
like
fuck,
that's
right?
a classic Dave joke. Am I allowed to say something that I know I'm not allowed to say?
Wait, I can't say see you next Tuesday?
Right.
Yeah. So so
Sorry.
no, that's okay. No, so let's, I guess we'll flash back all the
I
way
have all
to
the warnings on my channel. I clicked every single warning that we were supposed to.
I picked the ones that revolve around me, and the fact that I have to put in that I take drugs on air is kind of hilarious.
I clicked, yeah, I clicked every single warning. I'm definitely taking drugs on air.
Oh yeah. But so
I might describe extremely sexy situations.
extremely
I
sexy
might
situations.
do it. It could happen. It could happen in the middle of the night some night.
But Iva Taguri Diakino was born and raised in excuse me, in California. She grew up with Japanese parents. Her parents were very into the American culture, the American lifestyle, and thus they adopted they maintained some traditions within their family, but they were predominantly very integrated into American life. Um, in later interviews, Ava told people that she was particularly into she had a big crush on Jimmy Stewart. Like she was a big
Okay.
fan of Little Orphan Annie, the radio play show, and
Sure.
just
Well,
like
she was inspired to do, yeah.
and she was she was in general like the epitome of like what you would consider an American kid at that time. And so later in life, one day, she's told much in the same manner. It's within Japanese tradition that if a member of the family gets ill, everybody goes and helps out, and I think that's pretty fucking
Right.
cool. And that's what happened with Ava here. So Ava, her grandfather, no, excuse me, her aunt fell ill, and her uncle didn't have the means to help out and still maintain the being the breadwinner of the family. So they had asked for help from the family. Ava's father uh, told her to just go because Ava's mother at the time was getting sick due to complications from diabetes. And so, despite Ava's, saying that she didn't want to go anywhere, she was like, "Okay, fine. Well, I'll go do it. I'll go take care of the family." And she goes. She doesn't speak Japanese. Like going there, I think she only knows a handful of words. She doesn't know any of the customs, like cultural customs or like anything. She doesn't know how to get a job over there. And this is one day after her 25th birthday.
Okay.
So she ships over. Mind you, at the time, I guess you didn't need a passport when going to other countries.
Okay.
And it wasn't until World War II came around that you needed to, make sure that you stated your country of origin.
Okay.
And unfortunately, when she went over to visit her family, she didn't have a passport. She just had her documentation as being a U.S. citizen. I believe it was some sort of a birth certificate, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
But
Sure. Yeah.
but some sort of documentation to show she was American. But when she tried to apply for her passport in Japan at the embassy wouldn't allow her to apply because there was questions about her. Because they were, well, let's be frank, they were probably racist as shit, and they questioned her
Okay.
actual nationality.
Okay.
So, let's see. But yeah, she's again, and she's just trying to get by. She's just trying to help out her family, and so her aunt and uncle are back on their feet. They're doing all right again. So she's like, "All right, I'm gonna peace out." This is in like September of 1942. So, or excuse me, 1941. So 1941 was when Pearl Harbor happened, right? I always forget that stupid fucking date.
Yeah. Don't ask me off the top of my head.
I know this is why I did not do well in the attack on Pearl Harbor, because I wanted to make sure that I got my dates right. Here was 1941. Okay, I was correct. Okay, so 1941, September 1941. She's like, all right. Or excuse me, November 1941. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I'm peacing out. Screw this crap. Screw this country. I want to go back to America. I want to go see Vertigo with Jimmy Stewart.
Okay.
Well, even though that was the 1960s, excuse me, it's the wrong era. But you get the idea. She was sick of this. She wasn't meant to be there. So she tries to get onto a ship, but because of the complications with her certificate, and instead of not having a passport, she had to wait another week in order for her to try to apply for a passport again. So she waits. She waits the week, and it was on the day that she was supposed to actually like go get her shit sorted out that Pearl Harbor happened, and thus was stuck in the country. She could not leave. So she was one of among 10,000 of people of Japanese descent who were actually nationals of other countries that were stuck in Japan during World War II, right when Pearl Harbor happened. A lot of them were unable to get out, and this is kind of the story of a handful of them, and it all revolves around this one woman. So it's around this time the secret police are trying to round up all the American foreigners, and they find out that Ava is a American foreigner, and Ava's given the option, either you can denounce your citizenship and become Japanese and get all the benefits of being Japanese and being in this country, or you can basically be considered like a war criminal and live in absolute squalor and probably die here.
Jesus.
Yeah. And she's like, and again, she was a very patriotic person, and she basically said, fuck you, I'm maintaining my shit, piss off. And they're like, okay, fine, you get no food rations, because you don't know our language, we're not going to fucking teach it to you, and we're also going to make it even harder for you to find a job. So it was also at that time that they were starting to put Americans into much in the same manner that the Americans were putting the Japanese in internment camps, they were also putting uh, Americans in internment camps in Japan as well, in these little like ghetto project housings. So she's told, denounce your citizenship or you're in some shit, and she's like, nah, send me to the project. I'd rather go be in the slums rather than,
Then become a citizen.
than become a citizen of your bullshit. This really pisses off her aunt and uncle, and they kick her out of the house. So now not only is she without a home, she's without food, she's practically stateless at this point.
This is a terrible story, isn't
it? Well, it has its moments, and
okay,
but there can only be there is light, but it puts more of a light on the glaring issues with that time period and the way that we treat people.
Spoiler alert: this story has a terrible ending.
Oh yes, a spoiler alert for those who do not want to hear about being a prisoner of war. It's pretty horrible. Let alone it wasn't even what the Japanese did to her; it was what the Americans did to her, and we will get to that. So eventually, her aunt and uncle kick her out for not denouncing her U.S. citizenry, and she's in the shit. She somehow, some way, finds a means to land a job at this small news network, where she meets this dude. So the Imperial Army basically runs all of these news networks in the entirety of Japan, and like I said before, these Tokyo Roses, or what they would also call Access Sallies, would put on these radio programs that would demoralize American troops. It is around this time that, in working at this one station, that Ava meets this man, Felipe de Aquino. So Felipe de Aquino was another a man of Japanese descent who was actually a Portugal national, and he as well got stuck in the country and was unable to leave. So they had a real strong bond in that sense. But what was even greater was the fact that because of Ava's malnourishment from being denied food rations and everything else, Felipe took it upon himself to actually help care for her and pay her medical bills. And it was a big thing for her to not have somebody just up and pay for everything for her, so she tried her best to get another job to pay him back. And it's within that she gets this gig at this place called Radio Tokyo. Now, Radio Tokyo was like one of the really big radio stations, of course, for the Americans as well as the Japanese people. And it was here that Ava meets this guy. This is Charles Cousins. He is an Australian major, and he was also a very famous broadcaster. He was fighting for the Australians during the war and was captured in Singapore. He was forced by the Imperial Army basically to do what Ava was doing, which was they were both meant to sit there and transcribe and analyze American news broadcasts for the Japanese, and basically break them down into more easy to understand English rather than full-blown conversational English.
Sure.
Something that they could actually like understand.
Right.
And so, and his story is also very tragic. He tried his best to be defiant, but of course, you can only do so much being a prisoner of war. But it is within his chance meeting with Iva Taguri that they had this wonderful idea to kind of, because of how well they spoke English, they felt that they had a real big leg up against the Imperial Army's propaganda machine. Okay. Because what they would both do is they would also write they would also do script writing for radio talk shows. So he would write something, and then he would have to give it to somebody in the Imperial Army to approve, who spoke English, and then would dish it out. And then they would, hand it off to whoever was reading it, and that was the same for Ava. And then Ava gets this offer to do a radio show, and at first she's very hesitant, and then one of her POW friends was like, listen, you're not going to really have a whole lot of chances to do anything actually enjoyable, so you might as well try and do something for the meantime. Maybe it'll make this go by a little bit quicker, in a sense. And so,
Okay.
so under the leadership of Mr. Charles Cousins here, she gets this radio show, and it's called This 0 Hour. During the 0 Hour, she would do little small skits, and she would also she would consistently play the UCLA fight song, which was her alma mater,
Okay.
among other inspiring music for American soldiers to listen to, and that would lift up spirits. So it was even funnier is that it was at this point that they had realized that because of the very minimal grasp of colloquial English or even Americanized English was completely beyond the understanding of the English translators for the Imperial Army, they proceeded to do these radio shows where she would be basically saying, hey, Americans, this is Japanese propaganda. This is not Japanese propaganda. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But for real, though, this is Japanese propaganda.
Right. Okay.
And she was saying hey, please don't actually listen to us. And what was funny is that American soldiers were noted as saying that this was a very enlightening show. That her radio show was really good, played a lot of good music, and actually kept a lot of morale up. What was even funnier is that, and again, I can't believe how they got away with this. She apparently, on the air, would call the American troops, boneheads. Now,
Okay.
now, as a general insult, a bonehead's kind of a fairly lighthearted, that's like a light slap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
So, according to this interview that I had read, she proposed bonehead to the English translators, and they're like, nah, is that actually an insult? And she goes, oh yeah, it's a very damning insult.
Oh,
you don't
okay.
call an American a bonehead. Oh no, absolutely not. And so she basically again used the advantage of knowing colloquial English to turn it into this big thing of a project against the Imperial Army and their propaganda machine. So it is also around this time that she finds out that her mother has passed away in an American internment camp in Phoenix, Arizona.
Shitty.
I know, it's devastating. But with a little more enlightenment, though, she ends up marrying the man who helped her out with her medical bills, and they stay together, and she continues doing the radio show, and then Nagasaki and Hiroshima happen, and the war ends. And again, this woman here was called, again, the Tokyo Rose nomenclature was meant for generally for any English-speaking woman on a radio in Japan during World War II.
Yep.
But the ones that American soldiers remembered the most was her. And mind you, her on-air name was Orphan Annie, and she would call her listeners the Orphans of the Pacific, the Orphans of the Pacific, or her fighting orphans.
Okay.
And it was all this lighthearted shit. But despite all of that, In March of 1946, she gets arrested. And this is after two American journalists who are really intrigued with the Tokyo Rose concept, you know, let alone who Ava was. They tried and find her. They went to Japan and tried and find her and tried to get an interview out of her. And of course, because she still can't get back into America, the country she was born in, she knows exactly what's going to happen if she flat out says like, "Oh yeah, I was the radio personality during, for the propaganda networks and, in Imperial Japan during World War II. Yes, like, what would you like to know?" That definitely wasn't happening. So she basically sidesteps these reporters over and over again. And she eventually caves in after they offer her $2,000, to which they never paid her. And she's like, "Okay, fine. Like, I went by Tokyo Rose because that's what the American soldiers called me, but my on-air name was Orphan Annie," and proceeds to tell the story of how she got there. Or excuse me, and I actually got the dates mixed up here. It was in 1946 that she got arrested. She got arrested in October of 1945, and she was in jail for an entire year until she was released. Until the people prosecuting said that they could not find sufficient evidence to warrant a prosecution for treason against the United States.
Good.
So 2 years pass, and she becomes a national, like around this time, like in that time period, she becomes this national news story. She's world famous at this point, and and what is really disgusting in that time period that she was incarcerated was when she was incarcerated by the American soldiers were basically allowed to go up and see her shower because the showers were public.
Okay.
And that was a means of, like, demoralizing her and torturing her for what she did.
Right.
But yeah, they a lot of American soldiers took advantage of that, and she unfortunately had to live with that for the year. And she was also forced to sign autographs, all the autographs that were asked for from people before she was allowed to go to sleep.
Okay.
Like all sorts of stuff. Her husband could only see her once a month for 20 minutes.
Jesus.
And yeah, just all sorts of horror treatment for an entire year, and she is released. It is only when this, what I would call a Don Imus douchehole named Walter Winchell took it upon himself. He's a radio personality from the 1940s. He was a gossip radio host, basically. He took it upon himself to rally up the effort against Ava, and was like, this woman committed, the highest of treason. She demoralized our troops, and now she wants to try and come back into our country. And at this time she was trying to work her way back with immigration to come back into the country because she was exonerated. She didn't commit a crime. So he basically causes this big public uproar against Iva Taguri, and it's a nightmare for her because it is because of this very big public outcry that the case is reopened, which I don't know when double jeopardy was written in the Constitution, but like, I guess in international law as it pertains in American courts, I don't know if they get the same treatment because she was technically an American citizen, but not. again, the legality did not go in her favor, and thus she
Sounds fucked.
yeah, and thus she was rearrested.
Jesus.
And is within her time that she was rearrested that the FBI was interviewing multiple witnesses from that were Americans that were involved with the propaganda media um, broadcasting, and they, because they were told by the FBI and everybody else who was interviewing them, they were told that if they helped get this woman prosecuted, that they would be exonerated from potential charges. And so they all plotted against her, including the FBI, and they basically, yeah, they all plotted against her. They all testified against her, and she, despite having a like absolute handfuls of American soldiers saying that she was a morale booster, despite the audio of the radio shows being played showing that she wasn't doing anything nefarious, the judge himself even said that he personally was biased in believing that she was guilty at the time. And in a very weird twist of fate, the jury was hung when it came down to coming down to the verdict. Mind you, at this time, this trial itself in 1949 costed somewhere around $750,000.
Okay.
And that is solely due to the fact that there were so many back and forths with plane rides between Japan and the United States.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah.
Yes. So because of the high cost of the case and because of the judge's bias, the judge demanded the jury come to a solution, or a definite verdict. And so the jury, solely because of one instance where she reported a true, mind you, a true American battleship being sunk.
Okay.
Actually, excuse me, she didn't even report that it was an American battleship. She reported that there was a battle and that a ship was sunk. She did not specify whether it was American or Japanese. But it's because of that, it was still within the scope of the Treason Act that she could still be prosecuted. So out of the 10 charges for treason, they get her with the 1. And
okay.
So the jury decides that she's guilty on the 1 count of treasonous acts against the United States, making her the 7th person at that time in U.S. history be convicted of treason. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison and to pay a $10,000 fine.
Sounds like some bullshit.
It was some bullshit. Although despite that, she thankfully was able to get out 4 years prior due to good behavior. And she was able to move back to America because in the entire time, the 6 years that she was in prison,
yeah,
her notoriety was through the roof. Everybody knew who this woman was.
Sure.
And it was because of that immigration was like, all right, you're on the docket for the next boat out as soon as you're out of jail.
Yeah.
And she spent her entire time in prison fighting immigration. Because she was an American fucking citizen. She didn't even denounce her citizenship.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did her time and she moves to Chicago and she kind of slinks away into obscurity. It wasn't until two journalists from the Chicago Tribune in 1976 interviewed the two people, particularly uh, a man named George Mitsushio.
Okay.
I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, who knows?
It's like Mitsuki, but instead it's Mitsushio.
Okay.
It's like Mercutio, but with a mint.
Mercutio, like the guy from. Is that Jamie Oliver? No, no. Wait, is that the guy's name?
Is it Mercutio from
Mercurio?
Mercutio from Shakespeare, isn't it? That's
Yeah, that's Romeo and Juliet.
I thought that was Hamlet. Oh wait, no, you're right. That is Romeo and Juliet.
Who's the dude? Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah. That's a throwback. We haven't talked
Do
about
you
that.
you thumb your nose at me, sir?
I bite my thumb at thee or something like
Right,
that.
whatever. Yeah. I bite my thumb, but
If
not
they
at
stare
thee.
away, then I shall bite my thumb.
Yeah. What the fuck?
um. So, and it's within these interviews that the Chicago Tribune reporters do that they find out that these guys were forced by the FBI to lie, and
Okay.
were told to provide false testimony. In between that time too, Ava is in the United States also not only trying to fight for her immigration status, but also trying to fight for the immigration status of her husband, who's still in Japan.
Okay.
And the sad thing is that he flies over for one day of court, and he flies back home, and at this point never saw her again after that.
Oh.
And after she gets out of jail, they divorce.
Oh.
Because of his connection to her, he is unable to get U.S. citizenship, and because she is a felon, she can't leave the country anymore. So, yeah, their relationship ends, and they unfortunately call it quits. It's very tragic. I think.
I told you this was going to be a terrible story.
It is a terrible story.
At least they didn't fucking kill her. Am I allowed to say that?
I mean,
you're not allowed to speak of someone killing themselves. But what about talking about the government killing someone?
No, we are allowed to talk about that. And
That's fine.
And that's the thing is that and what's sickening even more so is that she still maintains her patriotism and her loyalty to the United States.
Wow.
I wouldn't know what to do in a moment like that.
Sure.
And she's maintaining her convictions and is like, dude, USA is still pretty alright despite the fact that they're dicks. And or excuse me, actually, I'm looking back at my notes. I misread. Felipe was never actually allowed to come to her trial.
Oh.
So when she was arrested, right before she was arrested was the last time that she was seen. And it was also around that time that I also forgot to mention that they were supposed to have a child. It died a day after due to the stress from the prosecution.
That sucks.
Yeah. Fucking terrible. So it wasn't until let me find the exact date here. Yes, it wasn't until January 19th, 1997 that she was able to get an acquittal from Gerald Ford before he was about to leave office.
Wow. Okay.
And again, the woman never had any misgivings against the United States ever. And that's the thing that just blows me away the most. And she was able to go on living a happy and healthy life, and she was noted by family members and neighbors as being like a beacon of light, a very loving, caring, kind woman. And she's able to maintain that after the way she is treated. That's if that's not perseverance in the face of adversity, I don't fucking know what is. And this woman lived to be 90 years fucking strong.
All right.
After everything that she went through, malnutrition, everything else in between. And again, just to kind of bring it back really quick, I almost forgot to mention her poor friend, the guy who's helping her do the script writing over in Japan, who was helping her write the faux propaganda stuff. Excuse me. He gets tried for treason in Australia and is convicted.
Oh boy.
And he dies due to heart failures due to malnutrition.
Yeah.
It's not the happiest of stories.
No.
But at least and it wasn't until her death that I think that it was actually like put out there entirely that she was innocent. So yeah, she passed away at the age of 90 in 2006 in Chicago, Illinois. And
2006.
I personally think she's I really hope that somewhere in an American Broadcasting Hall of Fame there's a picture of this fucking woman, because she fucking deserves it. Like, without a doubt. Like, you know, fuck Don Imus. Like, you know, that dude can he's that motherfucker's in the ground, right?
Imus.
Is that motherfucker's in the ground? Fuck that piece of shit. Fuck Don
for
Imus.
7 years or something. Maybe not, but I think so.
It's been like 10, 15 years or something like that.
Okay, yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, he's got
But yeah,
farewell to Don Imus.
But fuck that guy. And I guarantee you, he has some sort of representation in the grand scheme of, like, you know, broadcasters. Like,
a whole room. Is there a broadcasting hall of fame?
there are. I mean, there's a baseball hall of fame. I was found out there was a wrestling hall of fame. I didn't even know there was that. Okay. So, like, I assume there's probably something for broadcast artists to be recognized.
A room full of Don Imus memorabilia somewhere.
Oh yeah, there's the stupid ass like headphones that he had, and the stupid ass cowboy hat he wore. That fucking prick. Anyway, I'm sorry. Like, even when I was a kid, like, it was beyond the fact that the stuff that he was talking about. I just hated his voice. He was the mumble rapper of centrist talk show hosts. Like, my fucking god. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's about this woman, though, and rightfully so. It should be more about this woman and what she did in her time. And this woman did, like, that gold microphone that you know, Rush Limbaugh has and all that shit. I hope that fucker's rotten too.
He doesn't have. Yeah, I was about to say, he ain't got no microphone where he's at.
No, you can't take that gold microphone where you're going. You fucking prick. But yeah, this like, in the manner of, like, you know, the whole Hanoi Jane, you know, McCarthyist, like, you know, scare tactics that, you know, America was using at the time. You know, this is another one of those stories, much in the way that we talked about, you know, I think we talked about the Red Scare a handful of times on the show, but like other actors and actresses that were put into the communist, brackets, and
Yeah.
when the reality was they were compassionate people that compassionately cared about their communities and were just horribly, misrepresented by fucking propagandists and goons. And
Yeah.
that's what happened to this poor woman from two countries. This woman had no
Propagandists and
state.
goons like Don Imus and Rush Limbaugh, who are now dead, which is great.
Yeah. I would say she was more oh god, who was the cat that did I Libertine? That was John Shepard. I would put her on that par, um or like even like Billy West, who just did voices. Like I would put her in that category of like, very important people to radio and just DJing in general. Like
Okay.
I fucking more important than Stern, that's for fucking sure. As much as I like Stern, despite how kind of gross his character that he portrays is, but like, again, I think more.
Is he still on the air?
Oh
Is he
yeah,
gonna turn
oh
into
yeah.
Don Imus? Is he gonna
No,
be
no,
5
no.
and on the air being a
He,
cranky
he, he,
asshole?
he's too woke for the right people.
Oh, okay.
Um,
He's out there spreading that woke mind virus.
but he's like but he's like he's just a Susan enough of left for the libertarians, I guess, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah, okay.
I'm being a
sure.
smartass at this point, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So
who gives a shit what?
For real, everybody, do yourselves a favor. Do a little bit of research do a little extra research from beyond what I've told you this evening. Tell your friends this story. I think everybody should know about this woman, and that she should be. And I don't know if she's gotten the accolades that she's deserved for what she did in her time, but she deserves like a fucking daytime Emmy or some shit. Get like post-mortem daytime Emmy or something, some sort of broadcasting award for this woman because of
Maybe we
what
should start a museum of broadcasting.
I think there already is, but we should that and we should all and if there is, we're going to have to find a way to petition getting this woman in if she isn't already.
And we can also have a hall of shame where we can put all those other guys and talk shit about them.
Yeah, we can talk. We can talk about
dead or alive, you motherfuckers.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Yes.
But yeah, for like the Walter Winchells and your Don Imuses and your Alex Jones types, if you will. Yes.
Yeah, Tuck the Cuck, Beanie Shapini, all those motherfuckers.
A particular back room in hell with all the spiky dildos. For those
pineapples.
You can't be schnerius. Oh, Little Nicky was a good movie.
I like it when he picks the little tiny pineapple, and the guy's like, no.
No. Oh man, but yeah, that's the story of the Tokyo Rose, and
what's her name?
Orphan. Well, her name is Iva Taguri. Or Tagori, excuse me. Or is it Taguri? I might have miswrote it.
One of the two.
I remember there was a U in there at some point, but I think I might have miswrote. But either yeah, there's a U in that. Toguri. Toguri. Not Tuguri. Toguri. The Aquino. I'm the king of pronunciation, I swear.
You did a good job. That was pretty good.
But yeah, like again, I think a very important story that everybody should know. and everybody should tell. But yeah, this was a really interesting last minute one that I was able to find, and this I'm very glad I was able to share this with you all. So thank you all for listening today.
Cool.
Right on. But yeah, I think that covers it for the evening, dude. Do you have any got any soap stuff coming up? You got anything you need to plug today?
Let's see. It's almost the end of the month, so go to my Patreon and join my sub club before the end of the month to get a bar of, I think we're calling it Citrus Summer. It's got a slice of orange stuck in the bar of soap. You can get it by joining my Patreon before the end of the month. I'm gonna post some videos and shit about that as well. Hey,
Hey.
you can find links to my bullshit at CuyaDK.tv.
Yep.
Thank you, Thresh.
Hey, no problem, dude.
That's
But
what's
yeah,
going on.
go get some
I
lake
had a
house
sale that's
soaps.
over.
Get those lake house soaps.
I
Go,
wonder if I should delete the thing on. I wonder if there's a thing on Facebook saying that I have a sale, which is now over. I wonder if I should go find and delete the thing. I saw people replying on Facebook to posts I made a year and a half ago about trying to find a home for a cat. And like, I hope no one gets confused and is like, I'm going to go use code word potato. That was last week. The sale's
that
over.
was last week.
I could put it back on now that I could just leave it forever, maybe. Potato. Anyway.
That was for 20% off, right?
25, but it's over. But maybe I'll do it again.
Yeah, well, hold on to that code word for next time.
Yeah, hold on to the code word potato. Maybe next time it'll be a secret code word.
But
Potato.
yeah, let's see. I'm going to
Yeah, what's for dinner?
oh, what am I doing tonight? I'm gonna be making steaks and carrots. I made like a quick bowl of ramen. That turned out pretty alright. I used the fat cat from the steak and just made like a little chicharron thing. And yeah, and used a little bit of the beef tallow and what was it? Better than bouillon and miso, soy sauce, sesame oil, a splash of fish sauce, and mirin. And mix it all together. Boiled some noodles, then put the little beef tallow crunchy on top. Top it off with the rest of the actual tallow, and it was delicious. Red pepper flakes too. A lot of red pepper flake. Turned out pretty alright.
I like that. I like that, yeah.
Impromptu ramen, on the fly ramen, it turned out pretty alright. When I don't have an actual dashi. But or kombu. Which that shit's wild, man. Like, have you ever seen like a full strip of kombu before?
I don't think so.
It's like it's big ass fucking seaweed. It's wild.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Shit's I've seen some shit. I've seen some seaweed.
Some seaweed.
I've seen some seaweed, bro. But let's see, we got somebody still in here, so I want to switch out here. I'm going to try and find somebody that we can raid out to really quick. Oh, this seems to be a podcasty evening. If anybody wants to, I think we're gonna go say hi to our friends over at Arcs Racing Networks. They're talking. They're the type of guys that do like the live sim racing stuff. You know, like they have the actual reels and the stick shifts and the jazz. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure.
That's just pretty wild. So, what is it? /raid. Arcs Racing Networks. Let's see if that works. There we go. All right, gang. Well, hey, thanks y'all for tuning in for Thought That Was Weird. We will catch y'all next week. Next Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. See y'all.
All right.